Good morning, everybody. I guess it's not morning, at least not here on the East Coast, but it's morning somewhere, and it feels like morning to me. Hi, everybody! Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. Good to see you guys again. It's been a couple weeks now. I was away last week, but excited to be back here with Gryfflet, who's been just hanging out in awe of the Argonath. I mean, hard to blame him. Just a couple minutes ago, you know, the rosy-fingered dawn was coloring the clouds rolling by behind the Argonath. It was quite lovely. What a wonderful view this is. Anyway, so just wanted to welcome everybody. I'm joined, of course, as always, by my friend Gryfflet, who needs to get up and at 'em here. We've got camping to do here by the Argonath. As I say, I'm excited to be back with you guys. We are 1 week away from Mythmoot. Next week, I will be at Mythmoot. And next Friday night, a week from tonight, I will be... Right? Friday night. Pretty sure it's Friday night. I'll be doing my my live stream from Mythmoot, which has become an annual tradition and has been a lot of fun. So anyway, really excited about Mythmoot, getting all oriented and ready for that, and everything. So looking forward to seeing you there, and hoping many of you, I know some of you, will be joining us through Mootcast, which is our live streaming service. We're going to be streaming the entire conference and offering a digital video archive of the whole thing. So yeah, you can totally attend, even if you can't come. Anyway, so... so glad to be back, and I was just looking, Phil was just helping me with my backlog of questions. Wow, there's a lot of questions I have to go through, so I'm going to try to hit a bunch of these if I possibly can. But anyway, here we were, so here's our stalwart band, right? We've got Horn, and Nana, of course, is standing like a cautious distance, I would say really a prudent distance away from the other Rohirrim here. And then here's, I like the kneeling thing with Korodan, right? Like, and he's looking, sensibly up at the palisade up there where I kind of, maybe there are orcs lurking. Yeah, and there's certainly orcs all over the place. So good thing one person is being vigilant. Well, Nana's vigilant too, of course. Nana's always vigilant. Not going to catch Nana napping. So as I recall, at the end of last time, Gryfflet was engaged in the exhilarating activity of finding sticks. So I have to hand in my sticks, but let's
gathered some sticks
with well. These sticks. Sorry, with those sticks. He starts to... I half expected him for a second to say, like, with those sticks, I would have power too great and terrible. No, I don't think... Yeah, we'll be able to make a good campfire. Right. Good, you've gathered some as well. Excellent. Okay, good that we've all contributed to the important stick gathering.
Horn said he would gather sticks, but he has been talking to Framric the whole time.
Oh, she's taking Horn to task for standing around and chatting with Framric when he should have been gathering sticks.
Can you help me with this?
We could use our help against the orcs. Yep, we are. Don't worry, we are here, and I am ready.
You found some. Good. Now remove the supplies from the boat.
Yep, plenty of sticks. Hang on a second, my sound is kind of low. Let me see if I can just turn up my master audio a little bit here. Oh, master volume. Okay. All right. Okay, sorry. You'll combine these with Nana and Korodan sticks. Oh, this is so exciting. Okay, and we will soon have a decent campfire. Excellent. Remove the supplies from the boat. Yes, sir. We are camping. Okay, let's see. I just still think this boat is so adorable. I love the little shade in the background. Okay, so, remove supplies. I don't see any supplies. Oop. Nope, I reach into the boat and remove the remaining supplies. Oh, what is this? This kind of makes it look like my rewards. I'm like pilfering things from our supplies. But okay. All right. Ooh, well, look at all this. Oh, mince and taters. What do I need here? Bowls of scurly. Wow. That's exciting. I think I'm gonna... Oh, wow, white puddings, right? Good. Crumpets. Crumpets and bacon-wrapped flapjacks. I think that's the way to go. I think I've got some bacon-wrapped flapjacks and could use some more. Absolutely. Okay. Excellent. Right, now comes the quest to collect marshmallows, JJ. That would seem to be the logical follow-up. Okay, I divide them among the rest of our companions, keeping the bacon-wrapped flapjacks for myself very sensibly. Okay. Reading the signs. All right, Corridon. Let's let them chat, and let's let Nana continue to look disapprovingly at them.
Parth Galen may be a good place to begin our search.
Oh, yeah. Let's begin our search in Parth Galen. I totally agree. Keep my eyes open for the real reason we're here. As I pass southward through the woods of the East Wall, remain alert for the grassy lawn alongside the Anduin. Yes. Okay. Question is, are we going to make it to Parth Galen today? Okay. Riders of Foot? Wait, what? What is that quest? Oh, right. Oh, from Fremric, right. I'm supposed to go and help them out. Right, yeah. No problem. All right. Okay, so Gryfflet is going to wander around and he's going to find places to help. Of course, I'm really tempted to make a beeline down to Parth Galen because Parth Galen, right? But it'd probably be more efficient to do the ones up here first. Anyway, all right, let's see what we can do. Okay, so first, let me get a lore question queued up, and then we'll start going. Okay. So Finnboga had asked before, what is the troll's purse that can speak? Awesome, great question. No question that, although it is, of course, a very minor character in the story, the purse of the trolls who says, "Here, who are you?" when Bilbo tries to pull it out of the pocket of its master is possibly the strangest single element in the entire Hobbit. So, like, what's the story with that? Well, so first of all, keep in mind, there is... All right, so I think this is the way I would want to frame this. I think it's important for us to sort of cut Tolkien a little slack, is one way to say it. Or another way to say it would be to say that we need to remember what The Hobbit is and not expect it to be what it is not. Let me explain both of those things real quick, because both of those things could be misinterpreted, because I am not suggesting, when I say cut him slack, I'm not suggesting that he just, like, messed up or that it was dumb at all. And when I say the second, that we try not to ask The Hobbit to be what it's not, I don't mean The Hobbit is only a children's story, so we shouldn't expect to take it seriously. Both of those things I totally disagree with, and that's not what I mean by either one of those things. When I'm talking about cutting him slack or taking The Hobbit for what it is, I only mean as a standalone story. Tolkien, and this is so important for us to remember when we're thinking about The Hobbit. It is important for us to remember that The Hobbit was never envisaged as being part of a larger story. It just wasn't. It was a standalone fairy tale that Tolkien wrote, in which he incorporated a bunch of, like, the things that he found most, like, fun and delightful. Where is the road? Isn't there a road? Nice waterfall, though. Love this waterfall. He incorporated, like, you know, he was writing a fun fairy story for his kids, and you know, and then of course eventually for children everywhere. And he brought into it deliberately like a hodgepodge of all of his favorite elements from, like, everything else, right? That's the, yeah, okay. Sorry there. JJ, I think my master volume needs to go back down. It was too quiet. Where's the voiceover volume? Or the... How can I get the characters to speak more loudly? Well, I'll leave that up. Anyway, okay. Never mind. All right, we're fine. so he wrote the Hobbit, and he put in it all of these, all of the things that he found really fun and delightful. Like so he put into it elements from, all kinds of different things, right? Norse stuff, Beowulf stuff, right? Things from all over the place. So again, when I say we need to cut him slack, I just mean like he wasn't setting out to make a fully consistent and totally articulated world. Like that's just not how the Hobbit functions. So asking that of the Hobbit, looking at all of the Hobbit and being like, now how exactly does all this stuff fit together, is asking a question that it was never really attempting to answer. So we have to kind of keep that in mind. We have to keep that as a frame when we come at Hobbit questions. The second thing, when I said that we have to take the Hobbit for what it is, that's what I mean. Like we have to take it for what it is, which is not like a children's story which shouldn't be read seriously, but rather a standalone fairy tale full of a bunch of stuff, right? We can't, if we come to, it's so easy to come to the Hobbit. Tolkien has just done such a convincing job in The Lord of the Rings, framing the Hobbit as this, earlier part of the world and Bilbo's earlier diary and stuff. So it's very natural to immerse yourself in the world of The Lord of the Rings, and from that go back to the Hobbit and expecting it to be totally consistent in every detail. It's not. It's not. He has dragged the Hobbit into his world, and he never made it fully consistent with everything else in the Lord of the Rings world. That's why there are several elements, several things he changed, of course, in order to make them more consistent with the Lord of the Rings world. The largest and most dramatic one, obviously, is Gollum, right? And the end of the riddle game, which I'm pretty sure I've talked about here before. But there are a whole bunch of smaller things that just get left in the Hobbit, and he just kind of backs away from them in that sense, right? One of the biggest ones and one of the most obvious ones that many people notice are the stone giants, right? Who are the stone giants? Who are the big creatures chucking boulders, right, in the Misty Mountains? Why don't we never see them again in The Lord of the Rings? Answer, because that's one of the things. Like huge stone giants throwing rocks in the mountains, one of those elements that he brought into this fun fairy story that he was writing for children, and it didn't fit. As he fleshed out the world and really kind of inhabited it in The Lord of the Rings, the stone giants didn't fit in anymore, so they were quietly left behind. He contemplated bringing in giants in a couple different ways, but certainly not in the sort of funny way that he did in the Hobbit. The purse of the trolls, the talking purse of the trolls, is a tiny but classic example of this exact same phenomenon. So let me, with that long preamble, which brought me to Mansig's encampment, let me pause, and then I will come back and explain how we can sort of understand the purse of the trolls in those ways. Right after I talk to some folks. All right, we've got our first stable master here in this East Wall region. Okay, I'm looking around. Really wish I could go to Tall Brandir, but I know I can't, and I shouldn't anyway, because that would be naughty. Utlach. That's a great name. I like the name Utlach. Okay. Hi there, Keobald. I hear you could use help.
You're here to help?
Yeah.
Thank the hammer hand for that.
No, but you can use every pair of strong arms we can get. No problem. My arms are diminutive, but strong. Though strong, when I say strong, well, never mind. You rode from Harwick? Great, with enough men and horses to investigate the troubling reports of orc activity in the East Wall. But you weren't prepared for what you found. Oh dear, what did you find? You began pitching your tents and unloading the supplies. You were set upon by a contingent of orcs. Well, that sounds like orc activity. Why were you not prepared for orc activity? Anyway, it's fine, but more than you expected. I get it, man. The battle was made fiercer by its sudden joining, and though we drove the enemy off for a time, we suffered many losses. Ask you anything, and you'll tell me? Awesome! But could I see to the comfort of the wounded? Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, man. I saw to his comfort, yeah. I'm gonna be like, yeah. Keep your chin up, man. You're doing a great job. I'm sure you'll be fine. Your wounds are probably not poisoned. There's a relatively small chance that the wounds will fester and lead to hideous gangrene. Is that comforting? Maybe not enough. I'll try again. So, endure the agony because it will make you stronger. That doesn't help either. Sorry, I'm bad at comforting injured folks. Keobald. Gryfflet is almost as bad at that as he is at protecting
You will find
trees.
work here if you seek it.
Okay. Right. Yes. Bear them back to Harwick by all means, to people who are better at comforting. Until we can return to the wold, we must do what we can for them here. Yes. Agreed. Okay. Great. I get to ask you any questions I like. Fantastic. Okay. Oh, no. That's only 4 questions. I was hoping I would get to, like, type in questions, like, use Keobald as my, like, personal magic 8-ball, but, oh well. Who leads this band? Let's go through this here. Manzig leads the company at the command of Harding, Reeve of the Wold. Fantastic. Love it. The Lord of Hardwick is troubled. I bet he is. But he can't ignore whatever has brought the Orcs right. He's got Easterwings. He's got Orcs. We'll help. Let's help with both things. Let's keep doing this. That's excellent. From where did we come? You said you came from Hardwick, right? I kind of know this already. This band is made of men from all reaches of Rohan. Oh, see, I didn't know that. From Snowbourne in the Sutcrofts, as far north as Thornhope in the Entwash Vale. Wow. Most of us hail from Harwick. Oh, that's great. So did he call in? Wow, how did Harding get all these folks together? We rode south along the road when we were given this charge, stopping only at Floodwind to water our horses. We arrived at nightfall, and that is when the Orcs set upon us. Oh man, an Orc ambush, huh? That's rough, Keobald. How did the Orcs surprise you? Okay, I imagine Mansing has asked Wilfirth and Radwolf that very question. We knew there were Orcs in the East Wall. We knew they were here in great numbers, and still they managed to ambush us. I didn't mean to embarrass you, but, I mean, it is a little bit embarrassing, right? So, how did it happen? Were you betrayed? I mean, okay, let's not throw rash accusations around, but you were too confident, you think, huh? Okay, easy words. I love it when the words that you get on the button at the bottom are like snide and snippy remarks. yeah, sure, Keobald. Anyway, okay. What can I tell you of this land? All right, the Rohirrim do not like to come to this land. There were often Orcs on the far side of the river, and small parties of the villains would cross to steal horses, right? Something has brought them across in far greater numbers you don't know. It has not improved my opinion of the place. That's interesting that they wouldn't want to come here. And not surprising. I think that's a really nice touch. My suspicion is that most of the Rohirrim would be uncomfortable. Because, I mean, one of the things that's going to be... I mean, you've got the seats of Amon Hen and Amon Hror. Amon Hor, you know, over on the other side. And the Argonath, right up there. And I would think that a lot of that stuff would... I mean, they're allies of Gondor, but I bet you that your average, like the average Rohirric dude on the street would be a little uncomfortable, right? With these mighty works of old that are, like, far beyond his own comprehension. Like, they couldn't build them. They know that, right? I mean, the Kuthstan in the Great River would be kind of an exception, right? Because it's like theirs in a sense, right? You've got Errol the Young there, so they would kind of embrace that. But I mean, things like Amon Hen, right? I mean, it's not only this great mighty work of old, but it's like something weird about it, right? So yeah, I mean, we know that the Rohirrim are kind of suspicious of strange things, and I think of course I can't help but think of the Anglo-Saxon references to, like, the Roman ruins and things, the you know, the Enta Yaweork, the work of giants, right, that they came across in their land, and I can easily see why this land, compared to, you know, the land down in the wold, would make them uneasy, right? So I kind of like that. Yeah. Anyway, so let me. Oh wait, hang on. No, it's not quite time to get back to the troll purse. I got to talk to other folks here. I got to talk to Utlak, which is a privilege. Hi, Utlak. Love your name.
Three
Love
good
it.
archers from Snowbourne. and I could keep a dozen orcs at bay.
Okay, good archers from Snowborn. So Snowborn is into archers, right? And is the red the Snowborn look? Because I love it, actually. I think that's very snazzy, and I hope for a nice red Snowborn coat myself someday. Once I've earned it and everything. Don't get me wrong. Okay, the bows of my people are well made, but it is the strength of a Rohirrim archer's arm and the sharpness of his eye that truly makes him dangerous. The orcs are different. Their bows are crudely fashioned, and they seek to make up for their poor training with numbers only. Oh, man, yeah. Okay, defeat archers, gather me their bows for breaking. You want to destroy their bows. Okay, we can do that. No problem, Utlak. But yeah, I mean, just look at that. That is really nice. I love the sort of red skirts. Not sure I love the kind of plain leather top there, Utlak. I mean, if that were sort of fancier, it would be even better. But like the quilted sleeves and the red coat underneath, especially matching, the red fletching of your arrows, that is top notch, Utlak. And I love the gold trim. The gold trim, just fantastic, and nice boots. I mean, man. Okay. So I got, at least 2 other people? No, 3. Excellent. Hey, Radwolf.
Several of my friends have gone missing.
Oh, dear.
I have not seen them since the attack.
Oh, no. Missing friends. Okay. Lungmanu and Swithlik. Got it? Can do. I'll look. Lungmanu is too proud to ask for help if he needs it. And Swithlik is not as bold as he was in his youth. Gotcha. Okay, I'll keep an eye out for them. And, Mansing, I'll talk to you last, because it is the place of honor. Wilfrith. Oh, love the purple coat. Where are you from? Who does the purple?
I am something of an expert on orcs.
Oh, are you? Really? Oh, you're questioning Mansig and you're wondering about the ambush, huh? Let's see. Okay, you can see the subtle differences among orcs. Okay, we're dealing with several distinct tribes. Defeat orcs and uruks in the woods of the East Wall and collect arrows from their quivers. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of anthropology of the orcs, or orcropology. Got it. Let's do that. And Mansig, I fully approve of that in all ways. Okay, Mansig. Oh, you've got the sunburst. Okay, nothing on the back. All right.
Look at the state of this camp.
The state of this camp? Well, people are wounded all over the place. I mean, that's not a good look. You didn't despair, though you were beset from all sides. Okay, many of the orcs still lurk in the surrounding woods. If I am a friend, remedy this blight upon the east wall. Okay, so I'm just supposed to... You just want me to kill a bunch of orcs. Got it. Will do. Can do. So I'm breaking bows. No, I'm collecting bows. I'm collecting arrows. I am defeating orcs of various kinds, and I'm finding 2 missing persons. Got it. No problem. And I have no beef with you, Swearthound. So I shall avoid the Swearthounds, if possible. And, oh, goodness, look, we're all over the place. Okay. Great. Now, anyway, back to the purse. So, with that preamble in mind about the Hobbit, what the Hobbit is and what the Hobbit is not, let me talk about the purse. So, when you're asking what the purse is, therefore, so all of this is context to answering the question, what is the purse? Because a lot of times when people are asking that kind of question, they are, oh, sorry, waiting for my stealth to cool down. Can I just do coup de grace? Oh, I didn't one-shot him. I was kind of hoping it would. Anyway, the coup de grace. grass yet. Oh well. Anyway, so as I was saying, when people ask a question like that, when they ask a question like, so what are the what is the purse, and what is it, how does it work? A lot of times when people ask that, what they mean is, how can I fit that within the world of the, like within Tolkien's consistent world, right? And that's a very understandable thing to want to do. Boy, you are really on the precipice. Can I just push you? Just give you a nice little shove? Not exactly. Close, though. Anyhow, yeah. So they want to sort of work it in. And that's why so part of the point of my preamble is that's not always possible. It's just not. We can invent, like we can do work ourselves to sort of integrate things. That's something that's kind of fun to do, but we have to be aware of the fact that we're doing that, right? It's only fair for us to be recalling that we're not actually, like Tolkien didn't really do that work necessarily. And we just need to be kind of okay with that. Because again, The Hobbit is what it is, and Tolkien did want to fully integrate it, but he never got the chance to do that. And this is why, and Ethelwald, I think I saw you talking about this before, it is why I was so excited about the Hobbit films and the way that Peter Jackson was approaching the Hobbit films, because that was, let's see, Gryfflet, can you get Rittermark scar deposits? No, not quite. Anyway, because that is, in a sense, that was sort of fulfilling the fulfilling Tolkien's own fantasy, right? He never got around to doing it. He tried to rewrite The Hobbit and didn't get to finish it, and he really wanted to do it, and he never did. So I loved that concept. Oh, here's Longmanu. Missing persons. Oh, I just have to point. Yo, dude, camp's up there, man. And the missing persons turn out to be horses. That is fantastic. Love it. Anyway, so again, I don't the purse I would definitely point to as one of those things which Tolkien never did make absolutely consistent with the rest of the Lord of the Rings world. So I don't think that's really something that we can practically do. But let me say what it is, because it's not silly. I mean, it does have there is sense to it. But it's a particular kind of sense. So you'll remember that I said that the Hobbit gets kind of put, in the Hobbit, you have Tolkien kind of throwing together things from several of his favorite traditions. Would you stand still so I can stab you? And one of those traditions, of course, is the Finnish tradition of the Kalevala. And I think that the purse is very Finnish to me. You will remember, of course, that the purse is one of two talking artifacts in Tolkien's world, right? We only get two things which speak with an audible voice in Tolkien's world. One is the troll's purse. What's the other one? Exactly, Phil. The black sword. When Turin's sword speaks to him at the end. Yes. So, and that one is, of course, very directly out of the Kalevala. Turin is. Wait a second. Am I missing something here? I got to defeat Orcs. I got to collect bows. Yes. Okay. I think I'm good. Okay. So I'm just going to wander around and collect more bows and such, and then head back to the camp. Okay. So, yeah, as I said, Turin and his sword are straight out of the Kalevala. In fact, the lines given to Turin's sword are reminiscent of the lines spoken, not directly. He changes them, but they are highly reminiscent of the work of the words. That is to say, sorry, of Kullervo's sword. Anyway, it's kind of a finished thing. This sort of animation of inanimate objects and giving them not only character but speech is a finished thing. So it's kind of almost, I don't want to just say it's a joke, but it's a little bit like a joke. I'm still not getting bows? What the heck? Got no bows? I gotta make sure I'm attacking the right folks here. They're meant to be all around here. The place is supposed to be lousy with the bows of orcs. Okay. There we go. That one. I wish I could steal their bows. That would be really epic, but alas. Anyway, okay. So when he makes the troll's purse talk, he's doing, like, as they say, a sort of a straight up Kalevala thing. And he loves the Kalevala. And so, like, that element is just like a really fun one that he's importing. He imports the troll's purses from the Kalevala, and, the concept of them turning to stone, sort of building off of some Norse traditions, though it's not clear that was really quite an established thing, as much of an established thing as he makes it sound in the text. But anyway, okay, warrior, archer. So understanding it within the context of the Hobbit is really simple. Like, one of the rules that applies in Hobbit land, is that sometimes inanimate things can talk just like they can in Finnish tradition. So that's how it works, and don't judge. And it's kind of surprising and fun, right? Trolls' purses are the mischief, right? But I don't think that's something that he really kept. Again, when it sort of pops up also in the Silmarillion, it's popping up there because he's using that same tradition, though in sort of a different way, and in a different spot. But anyway, looking for bowmen. I have collected 2 bows. Hooray! Here's one. So yeah, so the troll's purse, again, it's one of those things that I just kind of silently let go. I don't think it does fit in the Lord of the Rings world. I don't see any effort that Tolkien made. Some things he makes an effort to integrate them. Some things he just kind of leaves them in the Hobbit, but lets them remain still. And the purse seems to be one of those. So that's kind of what I do with it. Because other than those 2 sort of fun finish moments, we don't really get anything like this anywhere else in Tolkien's work. So I don't see any other place in which it can really be made to fit in that way. All right. Okay. Let's see. I've got so many. Let me go to another one. Let's see. All right. Elvealen said last time, I believe, that she heard somewhere that, unlike in the movies, Frodo was actually blonde. True or false? So this is actually tricky. I don't think that he's blonde, not like totally blonde. But... wait, skirmishers don't have bows, do they? Yes, they do. Sweet. Here's the... Well, that's where I am. I was so stealthy, even I couldn't see myself. This is, to me, the most interesting thing about this question. The most interesting thing to me about the question of is Frodo blonde or not is that you'd think we'd know, right? That shouldn't be a hard question, right? That shouldn't be a hard question. You'd think, right? Like, what color is the hair of the protagonist? Like, one might imagine that would be, I'm going the wrong way, one might imagine that would be on a short list of like things that you should kind of know if you pay attention to the books, right? But this is one of the things about Tolkien. You are much more likely to know what species of tree grows in any particular part of Middle-earth than you are to know what color hair any one of his characters has. He does a great deal of landscape description and almost no character description. It's actually very striking, the extent to which he does not tell us almost anything about how anybody looks. One interesting moment in that, and again, this is not like an accident or just an oversight on Tolkien's part. This is kind of his thing. Now, it's clear that he does have, in his own head, a clear picture of these characters. The most sort of famous event or incident related. Oh, can I go around this way? No, I can't. I thought I could get around that rock, but I can't. One of the most famous incidents with this is with Pauline Baynes. So Pauline Baynes was the illustrator who famously illustrated. Of course, you may know her as the famous illustrator of the Chronicles of Narnia. She's the one who did all the chapter illustrations and stuff in the Chronicles of Narnia, and she also famously did the illustrations for Farmer Giles of Ham and for Smith of Wootton Major. She did the whole Adventures of Tom Bombadil thing. Tolkien really liked Pauline Baynes and really liked her work and worked with her a lot. But she did a map, and on the map she ended up doing little cameos, right, of all of the Nine Walkers, of their faces. And Tolkien went ape when he saw this, because she was wrong. Like, what she drew did not fit his picture of them at all. And he writes her a letter and he's like, no, that's not what they look like. And he gave, in his letter to Pauline Baynes, descriptions of what the characters looked like. And it's like the only time that he did that. Like, he didn't do it ever in his books. It's funny. Like, he reacted as if she should know, but like she shouldn't know. Like, she was working off the almost completely blank slate that he leaves in the book. Pontine, exactly. That was the passage I was going to point to. When Nob makes a nice imitation of Frodo's head with a woolen mat, right? It's pretty clear that Frodo's hair is brown, as most Hobbits' hair is. We're told in chapter 1 of The Hobbit, brown and curly is the standard Hobbit hair. Frodo seems to have brown hair, as far as we can tell. But again, to me, the really interesting thing that this question kind of gets to is like, why don't we know? And he never does. I mean, just think of the number of times in his stories that he gives like a physical description, tells us things like hair color, eye color. I mean, he'll mention height sometimes, like if they're standing next to somebody and everything, but what are the color of Pippin's eyes? Like, does Boromir have a beard? We don't know almost any of this stuff. And it's, again, there are some references that we can kind of bring things together and put things together. But yeah, see exactly the kind of arguments, Phil, that you're pointing to about things like, don't most Númenóreans have gray eyes? Sometimes he'll say things like that, like talk about like tendencies within, a particular family or a particular race. But like most of the Noldor are dark-haired, Yes, exactly. Most of them. But we have to rely on kind of generalities like that. Ethelod, the Rohirrim are described, though very rarely a particular character. Sometimes, and sometimes in poetic terms, like Eowyn, for instance, right? We get about like how she was like a flower, whom an late frost had turned to ice, but like we don't really, we're not given that much about her. Some more than most, really. But see there, if you think about how that works, it's kind of typical, right? They are part of the, they're like part of the landscape. When the members of the Fellowship, right, come into the hall, we get descriptions of like they're part of the setting, right, including Eowyn and Theoden as he's sitting on his throne. But we don't get descriptions of Aragorn. We don't get descriptions of Gimli. What color is Gimli's beard? We don't get descriptions of Legolas. We get a little bit of Gandalf because they're looking at him when he comes back from, the dead, right? So we get a little bit of like description of what he looks like because they're staring at him. Anyway, it is a mark of Tolkien's style and approach that he just doesn't do it very much, which I think is interesting. But kind of a fun reality. Okay.
Let me see the arrows you have collected.
Okay. Oh, I've confirmed your suspicions, have I? The length of the shaft is a clue to its origin. Oh, Gryfflet loves this. This arrow was designed to fly a short distance, fairly accurately. It is of the type used by orcs of Mordor and is primarily a skirmisher's arrow. It is well suited to combat among the trees of the East Wall and would be less of a threat upon the plains of Rohan. Sure, right. The danger of the orc that fires this arrow is the danger of surprise. Okay, great. These are more troubling. The length of the arrow tells me it is to be used with a much larger bow drawn by a stronger arm. The Uruk that fires this arrow expects it to travel much further than those fired by his orc brothers. Yes. This is an arrow ideal for combat on the plains of my homeland, and I fear it was designed for that purpose. This is great. I love this guy. Wilfirth, you're the bomb. The orcs and uruks in the East Wall are equipped for different purposes. They possess different goals, but I can tell you one thing they share at least. They hate us and are all our enemies. Agreed. Okay.
Is it possible for the various tribes of Orc and Uruk to work together, as men do?
Okay, yes, you're afraid that they're working together. Good. During the orc ambush that greeted us, I love how this guy has, like, worked out that, because of course we see the different orc tribes coming together, in Merry and Pippin's experience in the Uruk-hai chapter of the Two Towers. But I love how this guy is like figuring this out from the arrows that he finds. This is very, very cool. Okay, let's see. They may not be working together, but they're each our enemies. Okay, right. During the orc ambush, I saw an orc from Mordor carrying a high-quality sword. It was not of orc make, but this blade caught the light and seemed to shine as the orc swung it around him in deadly arcs. It is not right for such a weapon to languish in the hands of an orc. He must have escaped. Find him and take the sword. Boy, you're not asking much, are you? Find a particular orc and take his sword away? All right, Wilfirth, I'll look.
Very good. An enemy of the orcs is a friend of mine.
Hey, no problem, man. So glad I proved myself
are looking
there.
For something.
Orcs are mindless and bloodthirsty, unlike me, who am hunting them down for sport, and I have fought enough of the villains to know what drives them. They are simple creatures driven only by hatred for the good people of the Mark. Right, okay, and yet there is something unusual about these orcs. Okay, they have seen orcs crouched in the woods looking for signs of something. Okay, they're searching for things, so defeat the searchers. Saw a couple of them right outside there. Well, can do. All right, did your friends make it home?
You found my friends.
Excellent. I just love that. What a wonderful little introduction to Rohirrim culture. I have two missing friends, and they turn out to be horses, right? absolutely wonderful. Okay, it is my duty to see the needs of our horses. Good. When Longmanu and Swithlik fled the orcs, their saddlebags must have fallen from their backs. Oh dear. And you want the feed that's in the bags. Okay. And water. Find the waterfall? There's a waterfall, like right there. We can probably hear it from here. Okay. Oh, get fresh water upstream from the dead bodies. Good plan. Okay. Great. Can do. Missing saddlebags.
Look at
Water
these
from the
things.
stream. Okay. Burn the bows. Okay. Let's burn the bows. Ooh, nasty. I love that.
Even the smoke of the burning smells foul.
Ugh, yes. Foul reek rises from the fire. That is very cool.
I have been
Okay.
known to lose my temper on occasion. It is true.
Uh-oh. Okay, I believe you that you lose your temper sometimes. Okay, it seemed we would not be able to hold out against the orcs. As they broke and fled, you loosed your prized red-fletched arrow. Oh, man. Oh, no, he carried off your prized arrow? Okay, at least he's probably dead, so unlike this other random orc I've got to hunt down and find. Okay, so I'm looking now for the waterfall, the saddlebags, the random orc with the random sword, the random orc with the random arrow, and orc searchers. Right. Okay. Hooray for quest arrows. Hey, look, there's a searcher. Right there waiting for me. Okay, so what was I talking about? I forget. Oh, but I saw you guys one last comment about the purse. I saw somebody expressing concern that about sort of silence, you know, like that, like you want to think that the purse really talked. Oh yeah, no, I'm fine with that. Look at that. They're all right here. They're all searching right here. Oops, I just unstealthed myself. Oh well. Come here, Buster. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not trying to deny that it talked. I'm not being like, pay no attention to the talking purse, right? I'm just saying, don't try too hard to squeeze it in to the lore of The Lord of the Rings, because I don't think Tolkien made any attempt to do that. I think it's one of the... When I say he passes over in silence, I don't mean he silences... I don't mean to silence the purse. I just mean that... passing it over in silence in the sense of without explanation. That's all. That's all. And as for the sword, Turin's sword, haven't made up my mind about Turin's sword yet. I think that the sword... Okay, so here's the thing about the sword, and really about sort of talking objects in general. And Druid's Fire, you're thinking in exactly the same kind of directions that I was just thinking too. One of the things we've been talking about a lot in the Silmarillion film project lately has been magical items, and especially magic swords. And what makes them magic? How does that work in Tolkien exactly? Sometimes there seem to be runes of power, like runes which confer power in some sense upon the weapons. But it seems to me that what happens... the primary thing that happens, based on things that we hear from the elves, based on things that we hear from the narrator about Mary's sword, it seems to me that the best explanation for magical weapons in Tolkien's world is that the smiths infuse them. Sort of infuse them or imbue them with some of their own will, right? So it's the anger against the, their sort of rage against Angmar, right? That they place into the swords that they make that are taken by the hobbits in the Barrow Downs. The hobbits or the elves put the love of all that, the thought of all that they love into all that they make, right? And so presumably this kind of extends. Well, how do I get up there? Over here. This sort of extends to the magic weapons that they make as well, right? So that, those are infused with the love of, with the thought of the things that they love, and are trying, both the things that they love. Oh yeah, I'm trying to stealth myself while I'm on horseback. It's a little hard. Yeah, so they, oh, no, that's not a way in. How do I get into this bloody place? Huh. It's not around this way, is it? Guess I'll go around the other way. See if I can find the door. Right. So this would mean in part that elves would place the love of the objects that they're making, of objects that are inimical to orcs, like light, right, into the things that they make. So like clearly the thought of ice and frost is put into Aiglos. So it is the cold spear for that reason. Oh, here's the path. Okay, see, I was looking for skulls on sticks, or not skulls yet, soon to be skulls. Right, the decapitated heads of their enemies generally mark the entrance, so got a big stealth job for you, Gryfflet. Can you make it all the way through to the dude who has the fancy sword? Anyway, so Anglaghel would be, to me, explained this way, right? It is a very powerful sword, and as a very powerful sword, it has much of the dark spirit of its smith in it. Is the dude even in this camp? I thought he was in this camp. No. Where is he? He's over that way? All right. Maybe I took a wrong turning when I came in. Anyway, so that Anglaghel could speak, and even potentially speak sort of directly to Turin's mind, maybe. Like, it doesn't have a mouth, per se. But anyway, that's easy enough to imagine. So I'd have to think that the... Yeah, I would have to think that the purse would have to be like made in similar way, and that's just a little hard to kind of get behind, right? Like, who would invest a purse? Like, it's just hard. So Druid's Fire, exactly. It's another reason why it's easier. Let me say it another way. It is easier to make Turin's sword fit into the general sort of run of how we see things working in Tolkien's world, in his fully articulated and maturely developed world, than it is to see the purse working. Madman Modeler, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would say it that way. So Madman Modeler is saying that it's possible that Anglaghel and Angwirel, the other, the companion to it, was at least somewhat affected by the material it was made from. Yes and no. Okay, so like on the one hand, yes, the black metal which Eol, the Dark Elf, makes the swords from is kind of trademarked by him, right? That's unusual. But see, I think that just puts the same question one step further back. It's not that like it's made out of some kind of intrinsically magic metal which gives it different properties. The forging of that metal was one of Eol's secrets and techniques. In other words, I think what it means is he is putting his own will and spirit into that, like as he's smelting it, right? Because he, he finds it and he mines it and he smelts it, right? So, it's part of that process. He's already creating this metal, which sort of has these properties. And I don't think, again, I don't think it's just, yeah, sure. Meteorite iron, but is Tolkien suggesting that meteorite iron is intrinsic, like more likely to talk than other kinds of iron? Like, I don't think so. I don't see that function. Again, what I do see is that, like, yes, it's special. It's special, but it's special because it's part of Eol's process, I think, not in itself. I do not believe that, like, any old smith who found meteoric iron and made it into smelted it into metal and made a sword out of it would, as a result, make a talking sword. Like, I don't think that that's the case. It's still, to me, all about Eol the smith. Okay, there's a dude attacking me or attempting to. I wish I could stand behind a tree and take shelter there. Hi. Here, come on. Now you're taking shelter behind the tree. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I'm not disagreeing. The metal is special, but again, I believe it's special because Eol makes it special. So it's that's why it's, to me, not necessarily a different question from the question of forging, if you see what I mean. Okay, so this not enough. We're not high enough up here. We need to get above that waterfall, do we? No, Ethelot, I don't believe that it was... Oh, do I have to just walk up to the waterfall? Oh, right, okay. I just had to get closer to it. Great. Thank you. Yes, Anglakel is... I don't think he is melted down at all. The blade goes dull. After it goes dull after the death of Beleg, right? But I don't think it's melted down. I mean, they put an edge on it, but it is still, I think, very substantially the same sword, but I think it's changed. I'm willing to believe, let me say, that there is some change to it. I'm just going to jump here. All right. Anyway, yeah, well, I don't want to get too far into that because that's fairly complicated, but let me just say what I hear from Gurthan, from Turin's sword, after, like, what Turin's sword says does not sound wicked, and that is, yeah, what Turin's sword says before his death does not sound wicked. And I wonder, could we say that it doesn't seem to match up with what Melian says about it when Beleg chooses it. But then again, So I'm tempted to say maybe there's something that like when it was reforged by the elves, it was altered in some way. But I don't think so, actually, because the fact is, after it kills Beleg, it mourns for him. And that's contrary to what Melian said she sensed in it. So the point is that Gurthang and Anglakhel is a complicated... Anglakhel / Gurthang is a complicated question. Is a complicated character, right? Even more complicated, I think, than Melian herself suggests. Did I do them all? Sweet, I did them all. Wait. I found the orc that escaped with the arrow, too? I don't even remember doing that. Okay. Cool. Anyway, so, yeah. Anyway, like I said, it's a complicated character. But Ethelod, when Anglakhel becomes Gurthang, and is sort of remade, or like re-sharpened, right, reforged in Nargothrond, that seems to me to be a direct parallel to and of the same kind of thing as what happens to Turin all over the place, right? So I think that Anglakhel is no more destroyed and remade from scratch into a totally new thing when he becomes Gurthang than Turin is a totally new thing when he becomes Nathan or when he becomes Turambar, right? So, yeah, I don't think that that's the... Oh, man, Utlok. What's wrong with you, Utlok? What do I still need to do? Oh, no, I didn't find it. I'm sorry. I thought there was a check mark by it, and there's not. Where did he go? Oh, it's way down there. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Right, exactly. Madman, this Narsil is broken and reforged, and that's a much bigger deal. I think that a broken sword, symbolically speaking, a broken sword is a big deal. Like, when a sword is broken, it's done. Like, that is really important when a sword is broken. This is why Storied Past on Twitter was suggesting, was wanting to kind of return. It was thinking about the flight to the Ford. Was when we were talking about that and exploring the Lord of the Rings, and was thinking about Aragorn, and like Aragorn has the shards of Narsil, and he was sort of wanting to think about or speculate, could Aragorn is described as carrying firebrands. Could he have, like, might he have been brandishing the shards of Narsil? No, the shards of Narsil, I believe, have no power. Like, they would not glow red. If Frodo was wearing the ring and he saw the shards of Narsil, it would not glow red like the Barrow Sword glows. Narsil is inert. It is dead. Its power is gone. It has been broken, and it needs to be reforged. In this way, actually, although the whole Silithar quest in LOTRO is, of course, very much outside the text, I kind of like it, actually. In many ways, I find it to be within the spirit of what Tolkien describes. The use of a gem like that is very unusual. I mean, I talk about the ways in which magical weapons are imbued with power, and that's not a common one at all. Like, put this magic gem in it and then it'll be super duper powerful is not the normal way in Tolkien's world that we see, that I can think of. But it's but nevertheless, the idea that when the shards of Narsil are reforged into Andúril, there is like a memory of the power that was, but in its broken state, prior to being reforged, Narsil is useless, other than like what use you can materially make of the metal, right? I mean, if the shard is long enough and sharp enough, maybe he could shave with it, but he couldn't, he's not going to scare a Nazgul with it because that sword is broken. Druid's Fire, exactly. Saruman, your staff is broken. When Gandalf's staff breaks on the stone, it's a big deal. When Saruman's staff is broken, it's a big deal. When Narsil breaks, it's a big deal. When Gurthang breaks beneath Turin after he stabs himself, it's a big deal. Like it's a big deal. Now I agree there is some kind of continuation. There is like a memory of Narsil that was, but it isn't Narsil anymore. And now, Ethelad, you're going to say, well, Gurthang isn't on Glockhel anymore. But it is. It's different. It wasn't broken. It wasn't broken. It is still the same sword with the same power. It just needs to be refreshed. It's grieving, and it needs to get over it, right? It needs healing, in a sense, not remaking, right? As Narsil needs remaking into Enduro. And this is why, by the way, the most idiotic scene, and I mean that word, idiotic scene, in the extended Lord of the Rings films is that scene, that confrontation between the Witch King and Gandalf when the Witch King breaks Gandalf's staff. Pisses me off every time I see that. Every time I see that. Just because it betrays what seems to me like an absolutely culpable, almost inexcusable ignorance. I mean, it's just, nothing bothers. There's literally no scene ever filmed by Peter Jackson that bothers me more than that scene. I will take every scene in The Hobbit. Give me the elven archers jumping over the heavily armed phalanx of dwarf warriors in combat before you give me the staff breaking of Gandalf by the Witch King. I mean, oh my goodness. Now, Madman Mono, yes, he used the hilt chart of Narsil to cut the one ring from Sauron's hand. Yeah, exactly. It's still sharp, right? And I think that Isildur was doing that symbolically. I don't think he needed the power of Narsil to cut the ring from Sauron's hand. I think that was a symbolic move, but again, the power of Narsil had gone. He needed a sharp blade. So is Narsil resurrected? Yeah, in a sense. I think that whereas I would say that Anglachel is to Gurthang as Turin is to Turambar, or as Turin is to Neathan, right? So I would say Narsil is to Andúril as like Gandalf the Grey is to Gandalf the White. Maybe. That's not exactly right, because goodness knows the processes are not the same, but yeah, it's more than just a change of name. It is more like a rebirth of the sword. It does retain the memory of it, right? When Aragorn is talking about the lineage of the blade, he still is dating it back into the deeps of time, right? He still is going back to Telkar. Telkar first forged you, right? So it is still the same sword forged by Telkar, in a sense, right? But it has been reforged. It's now a new sword, and thus he gives it a new name. He doesn't just keep calling it Narsil, right? So you do see that sense of continuity, but at the same time, it's new, and thus is given a new name to signal that. Whereas again, Gurthang is not different. It's just any more than Turin is changing. Sorry, I'm standing here next to the corpse of this dead orc. Hooray! Found it. Right here by this convenient cave. Which I'm not going to enter in case they're going to send me back down. Because I'll come back this way anyway. Can I jump the river? Yes, I can. Okay. Yeah. Druid's Fire, yes, there might have been a certain amount of strong language. Actually, I don't think I used strong language, but I do remember shouting when that happened. It was a more inarticulate shout than profanity-laden shout, really. But yeah. Cool. Let's see. Well, anyway, so I'm glad, Ethelod, that I didn't get into it. As you can see, my attempt to not get into detail on the question of the reforging of Anglakhel totally failed. But there it is.
You say the orc died in front of a cave entrance?
Yeah, there was totally a cave entrance right there. What can I tell you more of it? Nothing. I didn't
investigate. You don't know what
investigate.
might lie within that cave, but that fleeing orc wanted to get there.
True. Okay, I'll head down there. All right, Rad Wolf, I got your stuff.
You have done well.
Hey, no problem. Hey, thanks for the gem. That's handy. What rank is this? Tier 6? Nice. Happy to help the horses, you know. All right, Mansig.
I do not need to know what they were looking for to be glad they have not found it.
Yep, no problem. We'll keep helping in small ways. All right, Wilfirth, you're my favorite. What do we got here?
Ah, you did it. I will hold on to the sword for now.
Yep, okay, let's see. You would say it's from Gondor. But it doesn't have much in the way of ornamentation. Sword from Gondor. It can't be Boromir's sword, can it? No. Boromir's sword was broken, wasn't it?
You do not think I remained here in idleness, do you? Because I did not.
Okay, man. I didn't accuse you. All right, you went hunting as well. All right, let's see. Okay. In the woods, you found two such creatures discussing a recent battle. Okay, the orc and the uruk. Great. Okay, but though they spoke of the orc ambush that troubled this very camp, then they spoke of a mighty hero that cut down dozens of their number. Oh, man. At that moment, you leaped from the concealing bushes and slew them. To your sorrow, he returns. Oh, man, so you, decided to play Boromir instead of learning more about him? Afterwards, I decided they probably spoke not of me. Oh, and you really believed that they were talking about you. Okay. There's an... I like this guy. There is another glade to the far southeast of here at a narrow place between the cliffs and the Great Lake. Okay, go there and see what there is to see. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. Okay, all right, Ethelod, since we're completely discussing everything about Anglakhel today and I can't fight it anymore, then let's do this. Here's my theory about Anglakhel. The dark heart of the smith does dwell in Anglakhel. So Anglakhel is invested, as Melian perceives, with the dark will of Eol, right? And she fears that it will be untrue to Beleg, that he will regret taking it, which, of course, turns out to be prophetic. He is, in fact, going to die by that sword, right? But then here's the thing. This is where the story of Anglakhel takes an unexpected turn. And that is Anglakhel mourns, right? After the death of Beleg, Anglakhel is sorry. So, based on Melian's words, you would think that Anglakhel would be triumphant, right? Glad to betray the one who was wielding him, who was not his master, right? That the spite and the sort of spite and vengefulness of Eol
would remain in the sword. And that it would be quite cheerful about killing Beleg. But that's not, in fact, what we see, right? We see, as Gwyndor observes, the sword appears even to be mourning Beleg. I think Anglachel changes and grows as a character. I think that Anglachel does end up bringing about the death of Beleg, but when it does, I think that the tragedy of that moment, the spirit with which Beleg wielded Anglachel, and his own love and devotion to Turin, and the tragic death by Turin's hand with his own sword, as he has just heroically rescued Turin, I think that the tragedy of that moment seems to change Anglachel. It responds. It responds to Beleg, and mourns him after it indirectly, directly causes Beleg's death, but indirectly brings about Beleg's death. And then when it is remade into Gorthang, when it becomes Turin's sword after that, right? It is different. And we can hear the difference, I think, in the words that it says at the end. It is interested in, it is still mourning Beleg. And it is outraged at the unjust murder of Brandir. It doesn't like that. Why shouldn't it like that, right? If it still just had the dark spirit of Eol, why would Eol care, right? I can't imagine that Eol forged that sword to be like, no, only slay the unrighteous. Like, that does not seem to me to be in keeping with this dark spirit of the smith. So I think that he's changed. I think that Anglachel there's a character arc for Anglachel. And that the breaking of the sword, which nothing causes, right? I think that Anglachel / Gurthang essentially commits suicide at the end. Like, Turin kills himself and the sword kills itself. Like, the sword breaks itself. Nothing breaks it, right? It just breaks. And I think that Anglachel / Gurthang has basically killed itself at the end, in remorse, just as Turin is, and for the same reasons that Turin is. It's almost like a sort of, I don't know, it's not exactly like a suicide pact between Turin and his sword, but it's a little bit like that, actually. So yeah, I don't think it's as simple as that. I think that, and given that Anglachel speaks, right, speaks with words, that gives us even the more justification, I think, to believe that, there's something a little bit more going on than just a magic sword in the traditional way. Phil, I was noticing that too, that our man Isteron here seems to be standing next to a pelvis fire. Absolutely. Okay.
Oh, I did not see you approach, but here you are.
Here I am, indeed. Oh, Isteron, I've learned to distrust men with mustaches like that in LOTRO. I have a bad record with them. Okay. I'm a welcome change from the orcs. Oh, good. I'm glad you didn't take me for a little orc and try to tread upon me. There's no shortage of those creatures, orcs, right? They're interfering with your studies. I know, right? They do that. So rude. And your enjoyment of the journey? Do they have no limits? Your companions are still above ground and unavailable to help. I cannot imagine Rodwin even realizes I am missing. Perhaps she is the one who is missing. Okay, who the heck are you again?
Orcs and insects. Insects and orcs.
If I were studying either insects or orcs, this cave network would be a dream come true. Okay, what are you studying? Okay, your friends are camping near Parth Galen. Great. And they have decided the orcs in the East Wall are too dense for us to proceed northwards. You've left them to discuss what to do next, and you've found your way to the caves. Okay, so you're going to explore. By yourself. Very prudent. The water is treacherous. Okay. I entered the cave network from what must have been the southernmost entrance. With their 3 entrances. Okay. Explore these 3 side tunnels and tell you what you find. What are you studying? He never said.
Explore the side passages, okay?
Okay. Yeah, that is absolutely a pelvis fire. Is it... Do we have a choice here? This is the only way we can go, right? No. No, there. See, there's a path there. I thought that was a cliff, but it's not a cliff. It's a path. All right, let's go this way. Okay, we seem to have an orc tribe living here. Oh, yeah, the tribe of the Claw/Iron Crown. Yeah, like that one. Saw those fellows up in Angmar, I believe. Yeah, so if I'm remembering correctly, Phil, Anglachel breaks, like, under Turin. So, I was just gonna go past you, man. There's no reason we have to be hostile. Okay, let's stealth up in advance here. I know, JJ, what's up with that? Like, I gave him all kinds... Okay. There's orc. That's it? A chamber full of orcs from Moria. Great. Oh, they brought bunk beds. That's adorable. Have we ever seen orcs in bunk beds before? This feels new to me. I don't remember seeing bunk beds. Do they fight over, like, triple deckers, too? That is super cool. Do they fight over who gets to be in the top bunk, do you think? I bet they do. Yeah, I have no idea why I cannot get that scholar to tell me what he's studying. I mean, unless you know, sometimes scholars are secretive, right? Like he's afraid I'm going to go and publish his ideas. Well, that's not an outlook I ever had much patience with. In the real world, much less in the game. Come on, Esteron. Okay, orcs over there. We'll keep looking. Time's it. Whoa, getting late. And my kids are out of school, but of course that just means that now they're like hanging out at friends' house and needing to be picked up still. At least my younger one is. My delightfully independent older child is now no more trouble. He is no further nuisance. Okay, we're following along by the crackling pelvis fires. What is that? Oh, it's a skull? No, it's a pelvis. It's a pelvis candelabra. Oh, I love it. Yes. Okay, so you've got the post sticking in one hip joint and the candle put as a socket in the other. That's great. Yeah. Fantastic. So Ethelad, yes, the death of Beleg is, as far as I can see, the turning point. I mean, we only get a few like events in the life of Anglachel, right? We get its forging, we get its giving to Thingol, Beleg taking it, Beleg being killed by it. It's mourning for Beleg, so we know that was a really big deal in the life of Anglachel, right? It's reforging into Gurthang, and then it mentions the death of Brandir, right? But of course the final slaying of the dragon, and then the, to it even more important, slaying of Turin is a bigger deal. Oh yeah, no, JJ, my oldest is driving. Yeah, no, that's the excitement. Yeah, my oldest is driving now. But you know, I try not to oh, I suspect bugs. Thinking we're gonna find some Gredbig here. Yeah. Anyway, yes, I try not to overdo the whole like, hey, could you go pick up your brother thing? So I gotta go get him soonish. Okay. All right. Yep. Plenty. Great. Plenty beetle, as Kehar would say. Okay. So we've got orcs and insects. Are we going to get lucky in the third side passage? Let's see. Let's carry on. Carry on south. Oh, there's the exit. Another exit, that is. Okay, there's the ramp. Yeah, exactly, JJ. I don't want to. My son is still very happy to help. I don't want to overdo it. Don't want to take advantage of him. I know, like, I have plenty of justification for doing so. I've paid my dues, and goodness knows I've driven him enough places that he should be more than happy, but still. I want to be thoughtful. Oh, there's this. I knew I must have missed the side ramp there. There it is. Oh, yeah, look at that narrow little opening. Okay, looks like another orc hold in here. I'm assuming the bugs did not make... Who do we have? Oh, Orcs of the Eye with the little crown claw motif up above it there. Okay. And orc presence. Large orc presence again. Chamber full of orcs from Moria. Okay, so this is where the Moria orcs who are involved, right? You know, we have, well, of course, we're still thinking about Parth Galen and obviously the orc dragging through Rohan here. So we know that there were orcs from the Misty Mountains, right? I think I can de-stealth now. We know that there were orcs from Moria in the group, right, that took Merry and Pippin. There were the three groups. The orcs from the Misty Mountains, the orcs from Mordor, with Grishnak as their leader, and of course the Uruk-hai. So interesting that they are conceiving here of the Moria orcs having come down and taken up residence in these caves, right? That seems very fitting. And also, of course, suggests that they've been here for quite some time. But, of course, these are crude encampments. Now, did they bring all the pelvises with them, do you think? Or did they... Oh, that's just a cliff. Let's stay around over here. Did they bring the pelvises, or did they harvest the pelvises? I mean, I know they just, participated in the ambush of the Rohirrim, but you'd think they would have had to take some time to render down the pelvises from that battle in order to make all those pelvis fires. Not to mention they have to dry them before they're really flammable. Okay. All right, Istron, are you gonna reveal the truth? I think they're mostly human pelvises, from what I can see. I mean, they're enormous, though. Good grief, they're enormous. Those aren't human. Not the bottom ones. The top ones are. Well, who the heck pelvises are those? They're humanoid, but they're monstrous. What are those, like troll pelvises? See, this one... up on top. That one's a human pelvis. no problem. But this one? Look at that. I mean, okay, Gryfflet doesn't have the world's widest hips, but good land. Orc pelvises? Like the pelvises of very large orcs? Conceivably. Earthkin. Oh, that's a disturbing idea, JJ. Possibly.
I have decided. I shall name this tunnel system the Underwall.
Okay. Great, but what are you studying?
Do you think you could pick some of those glowing flowers for me?
I did? I didn't see any. Okay. Glowing flowers. Glowers. Glowers of the Underwall. That's a terrible name, Isteron. That is an absolutely terrible name. I will only bring you back flowers if you promise to tell me what you're studying. Could they be horses? Do horses have pelvises that look like that? I don't even know. Do a horse's hindquarters? Do they have hip bones like that? We'll have to do some research. Let's do some research into horse pelvises, and we'll meet back again in 2 weeks. Okay, so I gotta go. I gotta stop talking about picking up my kids and actually go pick up my kids. So I will stay here with the mysterious Isteron of the unknown studying and terrible nomenclature, and I will and we'll be back. So next week, Mythmoot, Friday night. Come to twitch.tv/signumu, and I'll be doing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a run from Goblin Town back door. Through the Carrick and the new Gladden Fields. I've never seen the Vales of Anduin, the new area yet. Haven't been there. So I'm going to go through there, and then I'm going to go through Mirkwood. I'm going to try to follow in the footsteps of the Hobbit. The book, that is. From the Carrick in through Mirkwood to the Elven King's Halls, and then Lake Town and upwards. So we're gonna be doing that. I'm gonna do it with Wigand. He's only level 100, so he's definitely gonna need some protection. So yeah, definitely. As Druid's Fire says, if you're level 120 on Landreval and you want to help join the posse, reach out to Druid's Fire, who is organizing the posse. So yeah. All right. Very good. So I'll see you guys Friday night if you can join me for that. If not, I'll be back with Gryfflet 2 weeks. No, not 2 weeks from today, because I'm traveling 2 weeks from today. I'll be on the road 2 weeks from today, because after Mythmoot, I'm going to be away with my family. So it's 3 weeks from today. It'll be 3 weeks before poor Gryfflet gets to discover what Asterion, that's what I'm thinking, Gryfflet, and looking at his name, what Asterion is studying, if he ever learns it. And if not, he might have to kick him in the shins. Anyway, thanks very much, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week at Mythmoot, and if not, 3 weeks from today. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.